Here's some very useful imagery. The human spirit wants to be free. Let's just say the human spirit wants to be free. And you could say there's different kinds of freedom, and I agree. I'd suggest that some of the most intuitive ones to consider are physical freedom, emotional freedom, mental freedom, financial freedom, and social freedom. Because each of these represents a carrot that we want to go towards and a stick that's beating us, things that we want to get away from, a monster, an angel. We want to go through to the attractive thing and away from the scary thing. We want to go to the attractive thing emotionally and away from the scary thing physically, emotionally. We want to go away from the scary mental thing or insanity. The emotional thing would be a broken heart. We want to go towards the emotional thing, which is joy, and towards the mental thing, which is clarity. We want to be free. We want to be free to flow down this river. There's a river, and it's carrying us towards these things. This is our navigation system. Our navigation system is moving us downstream. We want to go towards freedom, the things that we perceive to be good for us, health. We want financial abundance, that is enough. We want enough. We want to not have to think about money anymore. And we want to go away from poverty. And we want this for others as well. We want others because we want it socially. Socially, we want to go towards unity and peace and away from division and war. This is also felt in the nervous system. We want to go towards friendliness. And we want to go away from freezing, playing dead, hopelessness, hopeless immobilization. That's what this is. Hopeless immobilization. Hopeless immobilization compared to peaceful immobilization. This is a kind of freedom. We want to be free to be healthy, and we want it with other people. Now, maybe we want a little bit of fighting once in a while. Maybe we know that we can get better or stronger from fighting. And so that's okay. But we don't want to be fleeing. We want to be with friends. Maybe our best friends are the ones we can fight with. Maybe we want to fight with our friends and grow. And we want to be free to do that without worrying that we're going to start getting beaten up or that we're going to end up in a hopeless immobilization where we're totally discouraged and dispirited and demotivated and in a kind of hell. We can call this hell. And we can call this heaven. And we want to be free to go towards heaven or the best situation with other people. We want together to have we want to have abundance together. We want to have joy and clarity together. We don't want it to be a competition where we have to beat each other. But before we get further off track, I want to come back to this notion that the human spirit wants to be free. The human spirit, this angel with wings, it wants to be free. The human spirit wants to ascend. It's like a bubble, like a bubble underwater, right? It's like a bubble underwater that wants to ascend. It's a little reflection bubble. I don't know how to draw a bubble. So it wants to come up. It wants to go up. It wants to go away. It has a natural tendency up. And as it goes up, it actually expands. Bubbles actually, I don't know if you know that, but bubbles actually expand as they get closer to the surface because there's less pressure on them. Water pressure is very high down low, and it's a little less up here. So the pressure that's inside the bubble actually pushes out. Actually, the bubble is defined not as the space inside or as the water outside. It's the boundary of those two things. So we are like a bubble. We are like a bubble that's growing bigger through time as we ascend. And it's at the interface of us and the world, or our limits. That's where the growth is happening, and that's where the stretch is happening. And that's fine. And until we know what doesn't kill us makes us stronger. So what doesn't kill us, the monster, what doesn't kill us, a broken heart, what doesn't kill us, insanity, what doesn't kill us, poverty, what doesn't kill us, makes us stronger. And if it kills us, then we're gone. We're gone anyway. If it kills us, then we go back into the ocean, or depending on how you see it, we go back into the air. Because this is us going through time. And when does the bubble end? The bubble ends when it reaches the surface. When it reaches the surface, the bubble pops. And it doesn't pop until it pops. And when it pops, either it turns into all these little bubbles, if it pops underwater and then goes up anyway, or if the whole bubble stays intact until it reaches the surface of the water, then it pops and it goes back to where it came from anyway. The bubble goes back to where it came from. And the human spirit wants to go back to where it came from. It wants to go to freedom. It came from freedom, and now it looks like it's on earth. And it's, we're having a rough go of it. It's a little bit tough. Earth is a hard place, always has been. Earth is a hard place. I'm not even going to try to draw this place. But Earth is a hard place, and it always has been. Okay, Earth is a hard place to live, and it always has been, no matter the time. And it will be a hard place to live, no matter the time. Earth is not heaven, but there are pockets of heaven here on Earth. And education and empowerment are us trying to become more powerful, more free, freedom through education, freedom through empowerment. So this is the discussion around power. This is a power talk. This is a discussion around power. Physical power, emotional power, mental power, financial power, and social power. And power in the use of freedom. We want power, we want freedom, we want to transcend. To transcend what? To transcend the carrot and the stick. When we get away from the stick, we transcend it. Okay. When we get away from the carrot, we transcend it. If we can get away from the entire process of wanting something or needing something or having expectations, or maybe we don't go away from it, we just look down on it. And when we have altitude, we can look down on this whole game, the game of fighting, the game of struggle, the game of getting something and having it taken away from us, the game of karma, the material game, the game of the material world. We can look down on it, we can get over it. We can look down on it, we can get over it, or we can get under it. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't matter if we surrender, that means to get over it. Surrender. There's no more room to write, but let me just continue here. We're talking about planet Earth, material reality, the challenges it poses, the very real challenges of material reality, and our our own association, or how do we feel, our identification with the human spirit and the desire for freedom, right? It leads us on a spiritual journey, on a journey of letting go, on a journey of forgiveness. And it doesn't matter if we surrender, which means to go over the rendering, or submit, or submission, which means to go below the mission. What's the mission? The mission is planet Earth. The mission is planet Earth. That's the rendering. They're rendering planet Earth. So it doesn't matter if we go above it. If we go above it and look down at it, or if we go below it and look up at it, in all these ways, we're able to get perspective on it. And actually, from the perspective of the human standing on Earth, we are, in this case, above it. In this case, we are above the human, looking down on it in love. Look down in love. That's also what the best version of the word condescend is. We're watching Pride and Prejudice, and they talk about condescension as being a good thing, as a loving thing that people can do to each other. We can condescend to each other. It's like, come down to my level. Come down to my level. See how I see things. So we can be the human spirit. We can be the human, We could be the human spirit if we identify with it, looking down in love at the physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social domains of planet Earth, Planet Earth is this thing. It's physical, emotional, mental, financial, social. I mean, the game we're playing, which is called Human on Earth, is a game of pressure and imperfection, right? It's a power game. It's a power game. And we have physical power, emotional power, mental, financial, and social power. And we have a transactional matrix, which says we can give to each other. We can benefit to others. We can benefit to others. We can have loss to others, benefits to self, loss to self, and we can just sit this one out. Here we have a loss to self and a benefit to others. Here we have a benefit to others and a benefit to ourselves. Here's a benefit to ourselves and a loss to others. And here we have a loss to ourselves and loss to others. So you have like a, positive 10 to others and negative 10 to others. So you can, this is like a, it's like a bullseye. You can get closer and closer to the bullseye, which you can call independence or freedom, or you can be anywhere else. You can be very, very successful at being a great benefit to other people and to yourself. You can be very, very successful at being sacrificing a lot creating a lot of loss for yourself and a lot of gain for others, or a lot of loss to yourself and no gain to others. You could even become really good at being terrible to yourself and terrible to others. And this is like a real kind of sickness. Think of the people in your life who are, suffering and making other people suffer. When you suffer and others suffer, you're very good at playing this game of being a loss to yourself, making yourself suffer, and loss to others, be it physical, emotional, mental, financial, or social. And a good example of this is actually the sickness or suffering that we call drug addiction, alcoholism, which is a very real thing. And so when we talk about our guidance system wanting to move us away from bad things and towards good things, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, and socially, we know that guidance system can get scrambled. It can get scrambled by past programming. And it can be confused, and it can misguide us. Confused guidance, and we can misguide each other. So that's what makes it very attractive to become very independent and not be misguided by others and not risk misguiding others, but to become independent. And so we can call that success. There could be a kind of pressure making us want to become more and more independent. But then there is a kind of moment where independence starts paling in comparison to being in others' lives in a beautiful way and having others be in your life in a beautiful way. So when we think about Earth, it's a place where we might have to lose, others might have to lose, but we could also win, and others can also win, and maybe we can find a way to win together. But at least being independent would be nice too. So we want at least freedom. The human spirit wants at least freedom. And the West has been very good, right, at making this case. But freedom can be lonely. Freedom can be lonely. And so there's also a case to be made for us not wanting freedom, us wanting something higher than freedom, better than freedom. What's better than freedom? Love. Freedom is a step towards love. Freedom is a step towards love. But actually, the people of Iran right now, they're fighting for freedom. They're fighting for freedom. But how could they, we all know, we want their freedom too. We want their freedom too. And it's because we have a love for it. The human spirit loves freedom. We know it ourselves. It's so attractive. We hate oppression. We hate oppression so much, we even hate opposition. If someone opposes us, that makes us very upset. We can eventually realize with wisdom that when someone opposes us, it does not necessarily mean they're oppressing us. It could be that they are channeling our powers. We might be able to channel the powers of others by opposing their worst habits. Like we were talking about addiction, we might be able to find a person who is in our family, who is, or in our community, who is suffering and making others suffer. and we could intervene. This is what healing is. A good friend is someone who's there when you want them. A great friend is someone who's there when you don't. So intervention actually can be done at any of these levels. You could intervene with a drug addict, but you could also intervene with someone who is losing when others are winning. That's a benefit, that's a victim. You could also intervene on a perpetrator. That's a villain or a perp. So you could intervene on the victim, on the perpetrator, or on the addict, because they're all a certain kind of sick, or on the independent, the person who sits this one out. So you can intervene on any of these, but who can intervene on these? Well, you have to be able to heal. And if you can heal and you enjoy healing, that's a win-win situation where you can heal the victim, you can heal the perpetrator, and you can even heal the addict. But that is a kind of power, that's a power, the power to heal, that we are not practicing as much as we could, because we have the power to heal, but we often use the power to ignore or be independent because we're worried about our power to hurt other people. Maybe we don't want to hurt other people, we'd rather just ignore them. Maybe we don't think we can heal them, so we just ignore them. Well, that's better than hurting them. It's true. It's better to ignore or be independent than to be a victim or to be a perpetrator or to be an addict or whatever you want to call this, unconscious, or the lowest level of consciousness. This is, we can call it addict consciousness, because you can be addicted to anything, physical, emotional, mental, financial, or social. And so we're all addicts in a way, actually. And as you might be able to tell, this presentation is my drug. Seeing the world in this way as data structures, seeing the world as data structures, seeing myself as a data structure or a probability wave, so that I don't have to have kids. If I have kids, I'll be happy, but I don't have to have kids because I'm a probability wave and I'm not just physical. I'm physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social. I'm also the secret sauce or the spirit. I am also the spirit. I am the spirit of Kaveh in Kaveh's physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social condition. And I'm trying to learn how to play this instrument using these 7 games, being the sorcerer, being thorough, being actual factual, being moody or having a mood or paying attention to my mood and to my energy, being innovative and opportunistic, taking advantage of opportunities and being innovative, being optimistic with my inspiration, also being negative. Negative is important. It's important to know what's right and what's wrong, and to set boundaries and to say no to things. That's the game of being negative. And what else? And just make up the rest of it, okay? And be creative and ... So the sorcerer and the creative are part of the secret sauce, playing this game, plucking the strings so that they vibrate, plucking the strings so that they vibrate. So when you learn how to vibe right, when you know how to feel right and think right, you become more powerful. You become a leader, and that data structure of leader versus the data structure of follower is something we all know in our nervous systems. We all know in our nervous systems, whether we're with friends or with enemies we have to fight, or with oppressors we have to flee from, or from hopeless situations that we have to freeze or immobilize ourselves because there's no hope. We all know that feeling of depression of hopelessness also. And that vibe is not a vibe that we love. We love the friendship vibe. We love fighting, also competition, sports. These are the vibes we love, and we want to be free to play these games with each other, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, or socially. To not, we don't want to beat each other up, but we would like to compete physically, compete emotionally, compete mentally, compete financially, compete socially. See who can do more. See who can be better. See who can be happier. See who can make more. See who can support more people. When you are happier, other people are happier. So this is really just all about flowing energy. This is about flowing energy through your physical, emotional, mental, financial, and social conditions. The person who can flow more energy is more popular socially. The person who can flow more energy is more popular socially. The person who can flow more energy financially is more abundant. The person who can flow more mentally has more beautiful thoughts and can spread thoughts and is an effective communicator. Someone who can flow emotionally, let things go, let things come in, let things go, generate things. This is what being productive is. Physically productive, emotionally productive, mentally, financially, or socially productive. It's all about flowing energy. If you can do this, this is what education actually is. Education and life is training, and education and experience and access. Access to yourself physically, access to others physically, access to yourself and others emotionally, mentally, financially, and socially is what a successful life is. And it looks like the way the human works, we have to be free before we can really do that well. Freedom is like a prerequisite for living together peacefully and making the world a beautiful place. The way to make the world a beautiful place seems to be freedom, not oppression. And when we have freedom, then we can actually compete safely when we're free. When we're free, we can actually like the West has insisted on the importance of through education. Free is a concept brought to us by the West, and its key is education. Education emotionally, education mentally, education financially, education socially, and education physically. No one's going to do it for you. Your education is your responsibility. And so being closed-minded, as many of us become as we grow up and we start to think we know how things work, we become closed-minded, especially if we become successful. That's ironic. The more successful you are, the more closed-minded you can become, and the more your opportunities actually become contracted by that closed-mindedness. But I hope this presentation has been helpful. Hope it opened up some pockets of interest. Also, the last thing I want to say is massage, the importance of massage. Massage is a vibration. It's a frequency. Pressure, release, pressure, release, pressure, release, pressure, release, pressure, release. And the frequency goes from something like 0.2 hertz. The healing frequency of massage is something like 0.2 hertz. If someone holds your flesh down for 5 seconds, 5 seconds of pressure, and this is just physical massage we're talking about. There is emotional massage, mental massage, financial massage, and social massage that spheres of influence can exert on each other. So your money can massage your social life, your emotional and mental life can also massage your social life. These put pressure on each other, but also you can massage other people. So 0.2 hertz, which is 5 seconds of pressure, to something like 400 hertz, which is 400 percussions per second. with the massage guns. Maybe it's too much. Maybe it's 40. I don't know. I looked it up, but I forgot now. I don't know how fast that thing goes. It's pretty fast. It's probably not 400. It's probably 40. So massage is simultaneously diagnostic and therapeutic. And what does it do? It opens you up. It opens up the closed places, physically, emotionally, mentally, financially, or socially. So that's what provocation is. When you are provoked, like happens on planet Earth, you are provoked, you are shown what your limit is. You are shown what your boundary or your limit condition is when you're provoked. And you usually don't like it, but we also know that what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. We also know that when we're provoked is when we can awaken to ourselves. So what I'm inviting you into is just a way of thinking. Now, you don't need me for it, but we can do it together. I love doing this. To remind ourselves that when we're provoked, that's actually a moment of enlightenment. That's a moment of awakening. It's a wake-up call. It's a reality check or a pressure test. A pressure test when we're provoked, when there's a pressure test. When someone dies and all of a sudden there's a hole in our bubble, and all of a sudden there's a question, are we going to seal that hole, or is the water going to pour in, and are we going to get destroyed, or however the physics of that works? But when we're provoked, it is a threat. When we are opposed, it is a kind of oppression. So we don't like being opposed or oppressed. And as you can tell, I love doing this. I love thinking about it this way. This is a very powerful map or metaphor. And I'm just going to keep talking about it. And if it rings any bells for you, please go ahead and participate. Comment, share, like. And how do I stop sharing? Stop share. Video. Yeah, comment, share, like, and just help me think about this. Help me think about this along with you. So that we can make it, so we can just continue to build this idea and build ourselves and become stronger as a product of this idea.